The word hospitality probably brings up images of coffee and tea and snacks at a community gathering, or turn down service and room service and fresh sheets in a hotel. But what I want to get into this month is sacred hospitality for the love of strangers, or as in the Hindu tradition, making the guest God. That's our series this month. I'm Reverend Amani Malaika, and I'm really glad you're here.
And so, in honor of our theme this month, which is sacred hospitality, which we're taking from the Greek translation of the word hospitality, which is philoxenia, and it means to love the stranger. So, welcome. If you feel like you are a stranger now, at the end of this hour, I hope you feel welcomed and as our new friend. And we're going to dance, so just breathe into that possibility. I know that's not what you might expect in spiritual community, but that's what we do around here. And we do it because our spiritual lives can't just exist in language and books. Our spiritual lives can't just be in how we think about ourselves and the world or the cosmos. Our spiritual lives need to happen through our lived experience, through our bodies, through our interactions with each other, through finding a way for these ideas to work their way down into the very cells of our being. So we dance, so we sound bath, so we sing, so we meditate, so that we can get this stuff into our bodies. Because the world is calling for us to be the embodiment of what is true. And so when we can welcome what is true into our own bodies, into our own experience, into our own hearts, we can then welcome ourselves to the table to begin with. We can welcome the truth of our own beings as divine emanations of the Holy Blessed One to the table, which then makes it possible to do that for each other. I want to share a thought from Thich Nhat Hanh, Buddhist teacher. I am determined to cultivate only thoughts that increase trust and love, to use my hands to perform only deeds that build community, to speak only words of harmony and aid. I am determined, he says, not like, I think it might be a really good idea to think good thoughts. It would be cool if I could do a little bit of community building here and there. Right? I am determined to think only thoughts that cultivate love and trust. I am determined to only use my hands to build community. And I am determined to live in a way that allows for these ideas that are taught through all the faith traditions, right? Thich Nhat Hanh is Buddhist. So this idea is not unknown to those of us who are not Buddhists. It's not only Buddhists are going to do this. This is all of us. So let's read it again. I am determined to cultivate only thoughts that increase trust and love, to use my hands to perform only deeds that build community. Come on in, she's right here. I am only going to speak words of harmony and aid. So my thoughts, my deeds, my words. My thoughts, my deeds, my words. When we think about the practice of sacred hospitality, of loving the stranger, of providing radical welcome and invitation to all of life, including the life within us and the life without us, what Thich Nhat Hanh is saying, through my thoughts, through my deeds, through my words. That's how we can do it. And I talked a little bit about this last week, that it's a two-way practice, right? Because I practice sacred hospitality, because I focus on welcoming and loving the stranger, because I make the guest God, I begin to have the experience of the divine. I begin to come closer to what it feels like to be a part of the holy, blessed oneness, because I practice this. So I get to have a deeper experience of my own divinity and the cosmic divinity because I practice it. And because I am in deep connection with my divine nature and my belonging to the one life, I practice sacred hospitality. It's a two-way street, right? If you are feeling disconnected, you can use this practice to come into connection. When you are in connection, you will naturally practice this. Because you know in your body and your experience and your feeling and your emotions, in every part of you, that you belong to every piece of life. There is no other possibility. I want to share from Radical Dharma, Rev. Angel Kyoto Williams' book. One has to penetrate the truth of interdependence, such that I am moved to a place in which I am not doing something for you, but it is actually about me, which is tied to you because there is no separation. An absolute sense, there is no separation. This is the spiritual truth that we are pointing to when we talk about oneness, when we talk about the greater belonging. That there is an absolute truth, that there is no separation between you and I. So when we are experiencing division, when we are experiencing divisiveness, when we are experiencing us and them, when we are experiencing even sadness for their suffering, we are experiencing an illusion of separation. We are telling an untrue story about what is actually going on. This is what oneness means. It means that you and I way more than belong to each other. We are each other. I can't remember which tradition this quote comes from, but it says, fighting amongst each other is as silly as one hand trying to beat up another hand. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yet we're doing it and we're causing incredible suffering and harm as we do it. So when we want to take our spiritual lives into a depth and a revelation, a revealing of the truth in your life, in your body, in the world, this is why. I want to share a story. There's a wise woman. This comes, I believe, from a Hindu text. Wise woman who was out in nature. She was at a stream and she found a precious stone in the stream. And she took the stone and she was out walking and she sat the next day to make a meal around a fire. She was homeless. And someone who was walking in the woods who was also without a home and hungry and asking for food, she sat with her and she began to prepare some food to share with him. And he saw the precious stone in her bag. And he said, "Can I have it?" And she gave it to him. And so he left that meal like, oh my God, I am handled for the rest of my days. This is enough for me to literally be fed and housed for the rest of my life. And then a couple days later, he went and found that woman, and he gave her back the stone. And he said, I want whatever it is that you have that let you give me that stone. Sacred hospitality. Because I believe that she knew that there was no separation. She knew that he was her. That she wasn't giving anything away that created her own suffering. She was taking care of herself by taking care of him. This is what oneness means. And so the practice of sacred hospitality helps us get closer to that truth. Because the truth is true whether we are experiencing it or not. But wouldn't you like to experience it? Wouldn't you like this wonderful, giant idea of oneness to be something that is real to you? Yes. Amen. So when we do these practices of radical welcome, of sacred hospitality, of knowing myself as you, and actively determining to have only thoughts that cultivate trust. Do you feel like you trust most people? Right? I mean, I feel like we walk around these days right now, we're like a little bit like this. Don't do it. Right? Isn't that how you feel out in the world these days? Like, I dare you. Right? I've been working with my yoga teacher about this thing that I have that I thought was good posture. Because I just be out here in the world like this. But really, it's really like, I dare you. That's what this posture says. Walk up on me, come on. It is not good posture. This is like my guardian warrior. And she is not needed when we are out here trying to build oneness, to reveal the truth of the one as my connection to each and every one of you, because we are made of the same stuff. You are the hand to my arm, right? The tear to my eye. We more than belong to each other. But our practices need to help us have the experience of it. Because that's how we begin to have the transformation we are longing for in our own lives, in our own neighborhoods, in our own communities, in our families, in our workplaces, in our cities, in our country, in the world. And it is a truth that continues to be true, that is always available to us. So this is the thing that we get to rally around. This is the thing that has always been true, and we have always and will always have an opportunity to reveal it. This is the beautiful thing about the apocalypse. The Greek translation of the apocalypse is the thinning of the veil. We get to reveal what is true. It's not just the destruction and crumbling of systems and the horror that happens in the midst of that. It is the revealing of the good. That is what we are building from the rubble. That's what you and I get to do when we become conscious and committed and determined to align our thoughts, our deeds, the hands that build community, because that's the only thing your hands can do, because you are literally community. There is no solo version of a life. It's a lie. If you are feeling isolated and lonely, you get to simply open yourself to your true nature, which is connection and belonging and togetherness. And you get to welcome yourself back to the table. You get to welcome your wholeness to the table of life, to the great feast, even when you can't see the table. You get to begin to trust that there is some other something up. Something's trying to bubble up to the surface through all of this horror and tragedy and violence and poverty. I'm going to end my time. I was out yesterday with a friend in the International District driving. And we were driving down the street, and I drove by one person who was laid out on the sidewalk. I wasn't sure if they were alive. And I said, oh my God, are they okay? Should we stop? And then before I could stop the car, there was another person, another young woman, just laid out, looked like she was dead. Really looked like she was dead. I said, I have to pull over. I don't know if you feel comfortable, just wait in the car, but I have to pull over. And so I pulled over, and luckily neither of them were dead. And I was able to help the young woman get up and get out of the sun and get to the shade and give her some water. And that was it, like that's all I could do. But I thought to myself as I was driving home, and just like heartbroken, right? And like mad at every fentanyl creator who ever created it, right? Just mad. And I was thinking to myself, oh, and then, on the drive home, of course, drove by probably a 15-year-old kid nodding out on the corner. And I'm thinking to myself, these are my babies. These are my babies. Even the ones who made the fentanyl. These are my babies. And I'm really mad at them. And I'm really devastated that this is what we're doing. That this is what we're doing today. So I can be the hand that lifts her up and puts her in the shade. That's what I can do today. We can meet the reality of this time and still know ourselves as inherently connected. I am determined to love. And I hope you are too. So before I bring our dance wizard to the floor, I want you to look for a face in the room, a face that's new to you, and just say to each other, I am determined to love. For those of you watching online, you can say to whoever you're watching with or to yourself, I am determined to love.
So just take a moment and feel your feet on the floor. Feel your booty in your seat. Just feel your body. Feel the earth that's supporting you. And just honor that precious, amazing body that you have, that you are in. That body that makes it possible for us to have this human experience here on earth. Just feel your body. And quietly say thank you. Thank you, body. And while you're at it, just silently say thank you to your mind. Thank you to your heart. Thank you to spirit, that spirit of the one that is moving and flowing and animating your being, that has given you that unique and beautiful light that each of you is expressing. I'm so grateful for each of you who have brought in your hearts, minds, and spirits and bodies into this space today. I know that gathering together makes a difference. It's truly magical when we combine our energy with intention, in prayer, in meditation, in movement, in song, whatever it is that we do, to connect to that love that we are, to connect to the truth of the divine, to our true divine nature. When we do that together, something bigger is created than even when we do that work alone. There's a light that is greater than the sum of its parts. So I'm just celebrating that today. So much gratitude for spiritual community, for the truth of who we are, for the opportunity to remind each other of that truth, and to encourage each other just to love each other, support each other. That's what we're about. And it not only benefits us, but it truly changes the world. I know that it ripples out beyond what we can even imagine. And for that, I'm so grateful. So I just allow our time together to unfold in beauty and perfection today, and joy, knowing that it is good, and so it is.